You're tuned to the Witching Hours on CKCU 93.1 FM in Ottawa. Sitting here with J-Havoc. How's it going over there, man?
Not too bad at all, not too bad. I'm glad to be on the show, you know?
Hell yeah, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. Anytime that you got some new project you want to promote, just let me know.
Definitely.
So, can you tell me what inspired you to get into rapping in the first place?
Well, I had a friend actually that used to rap and stuff. He's actually well known in Ottawa. He used to go by Johnny Bravo. He's no longer with us anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Chris, you know. But yeah, that's what actually mainly got me inspired to start doing music. Was about 3 years ago, right? I started at the label LHDC, Long Hair Don't Care. Back in 2015, had that registered and everything, and then we just started like getting more known, right? I've like first song, actually not song, first show I've ever been a part of, and I actually took a part of it to even establish my name in Ottawa was one of the what's called the events that come through. It's Lanark County, and I got noticed from them actually. So when I took a part of that with a couple of local other acts and stuff, that's how I started my name in Ottawa, right?
Okay.
Then I got noticed from Diamond Mine Agency, and then ever since then I've been working with him, and he's been booking us for local shows and everything.
Okay. So what inspired you to get into meme making?
Meme making? That's just a pastime, I'd say, you know? Like something I just like to screw around with, man. Like entertain people, you know, give them a good laugh half the time, you know?
Okay.
Other people just take it hard, though. Like, I just laugh with that stuff.
So let's be real. You're just cutting out your head and putting it on other memes, right?
Oh, definitely, man. My cousin's been doing that for me for like the last week, you know?
Oh, man.
Some of them are ridiculous, man. I'm laughing too, just posting them, you know?
Yeah. So outside of music, what other passions or creative projects are you working on right now?
Creative projects, I would say we're looking into a couple of EPs and stuff, separate aside from the album I'm already working on.
Okay.
And then a couple of other shows that are going to be upcoming. We're looking in with Diamond Mine Agency. He's going to be letting me know what other things he's got booked for me.
Okay. You said that you're playing a show with Kenny King Kong out in Kingston.
Correct, on June 15th.
June 15th, okay. So if people want more information on that, I guess they can just find you on Facebook?
Yeah, they can follow me on Facebook, Instagram at J-Havoc Official, and Facebook at J-Havoc. Okay.
Any upcoming tours planned right now, or...?
Upcoming tours, I'm going to be looking into getting a part of, actually, as I grow, right, with the progression with my album coming up and the album release.
Okay.
So when I look more into that, that's when we're progressing to more tours, right? So I'm going to be jumping on other artist tours and stuff, and then so forth. Okay.
And what is the name of your album?
The name of my album that we have created is called The Year of the Savage.
And so what made you choose this name?
Honestly, I'm more like into the old classic rap, right? With the real bars and hip hop and where it actually started out, right? Like the 90s. So my idea for the whole album idea and like the name itself behind it, right, was like to bring back real rap and the actual old school hip hop, you know, so like you could actually have that raw rap, real talent stuff, you know, not all that mumble crap that we hear nowadays that's all about drugs and possession and materialistic stuff. Yeah, exactly, you know.
Cool
so I'm just trying, the whole attention like thing, right, with the name was just to grab attention of people and to actually have them with an interest. Because nowadays I find with music, you know, you have to have a crazy album cover to get attention, like crazy visuals and stuff like that, like crazy visual effects and all that stuff, you know what I mean? Or like your numbers just don't really rise, you know, like
you just put a meme on the cover. You'd make like so much money, dude.
I don't know about that. We could probably try that.
At least think about it. So what do you think, I'm just going to switch to a little bit about the paranormal.
Yeah.
What do you think happens to our consciousness after our physical body dies?
Honestly, I'm like my beliefs in that, I'm atheist, right? So we don't really believe in a higher power for God's sake and saying like that, right? However, he created the earth and how he's the higher being and all that stuff. Like I believe how life is as it is, right? This earth was created itself long years ago and stuff, and then us as a species came along and then developed the world as it is today, you know what I mean? Technology and stuff like that. So my belief on that and how we pass, I'd say like I've been curious myself to ever like wonder, you know, if we actually do get reincarnated to something else. Yeah. That's been a curiosity of mine.
You know, I did a show not long ago, and there's this doctor, and he traveled around the world to over 3,000 children who reported remembering their past lives, and they were all in between the ages of 2 and 5, and they remember where they died, how they died. They have scars that correlate to the way that they died. They remember their wives' and husbands' names. They know exactly where they live.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the type of job that they had. So I wonder if this is reincarnation or if the spirit is possessing the bodies because children are more easily possessible. But then I think about the scars that they have that correlate to how they died in a past life. And that kind of makes me believe it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know how they say like a deja vu, right? Is like a thing from the past life. Like every time you have a deja vu, it's something you've already done and already been there at that certain time. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
that's where my belief comes into like a lot of the paranormal activity, right?
Okay.
Like actual ghosts and stuff like that. Like I do believe in that kind of entity and like stuff for life. But like me, of like I said, right, over a higher power, I don't really believe that because ghosts and like physical entities itself show more than I'd say like the misbelief of the church and all that crap that it's more of a man-made religion, you know. So
Okay. So if you could live forever, would you want to be immortal?
yeah, I'd love to be immortal, honestly. Yeah.
Pretty sweet. Even if all your friends and everybody passed away, you'd still be like, fuck it.
You gotta make more, right?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
As long as I didn't age and get really old and wrinkly, then I'd be okay with immortal.
But what if you did age and you got super wrinkled?
I don't know, man. I'd probably be like 1,000 years old and like a big wrinkle bag, you know?
Tortoise or something. Super wrinkled. Okay, so we're going to get into one of your tracks here called Spittin' Straight Lava.
Yeah.
And this is produced by Cash Money. Cash Money app.
Cash Money AP.
Oh, AP. Okay. All right, so let's get right into that. You're tuned to the Witching Hours on CKCU 93.1 FM in Ottawa. I'm sitting here with J-Havoc. I'm your host, Kanaska Carter.
Cash Money AP.
You're tuned to the Witching Hours on CKCU 93.1 FM in Ottawa. That was J-Havoc with Spittin' Straight Lava. How's everybody doing out there? How are you doing, J-Havoc?
Not bad at all.
Awesome. Happy to hear that. So we're just talking about the paranormal and the mysteries of the universe, listening to some of his tracks. So I'd like to ask, would you say you've had paranormal experiences before?
Yeah, actually I have. I've had a couple since I was a kid and even now, you know, living as a 23-year-old man.
So what has happened to you?
Well, I'd say, well, like it all started like when I was about like 13 or 12. I can't remember how old I was, but I lived down in Orleans at the time. It was on Paget Avenue. And
Okay.
me and my brother were just chilling in his room, you know, rolling up a joint and stuff, getting ready to smoke one. And out of nowhere, we hear like a ruffle in the attic, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And then we're just like, our attention is right at the attic door, you know, so we're just like, what the heck?
Were you just really high?
No, man, we
There
didn't
was
even
something
smoke
there.
yet, yeah.
Okay.
So we're just waiting, you know, we're like, okay, what the fuck is this shit? Like, I don't know, maybe like thought a raccoon or something got into the attic, you know, ruffling around and crap.
Okay.
And then turns out and crap, it just like I hear a very deep voice, you know, like saying, get out of the apartment and crap like that.
Whoa.
Yeah, man, yeah, we scared the shit.
Did he
right
say
out
it
of
like
us.
that? Get out of the apartment and crap like that?
No, it was like more like a get out, you know.
That's
or
creepy.
else. And then we're just like, what the fuck? Okay. Like,
Okay.
went downstairs, waited for my dad to get home. Told my dad about it, and he honestly just thought we were completely crazy.
So you stayed in the house? You didn't run away? I would have been out of there.
Man.
Okay, so you tried to go up into the attic and heard it, or you just heard it after the rustling?
Oh no, we heard it right after the ruffle because like my brother just had like a room how it was built and crap. He had the attic in his room, so the attic door was right above where we were sitting on the sofa and shit.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's
man.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Did anything else ever happen in that house? Or just that one time?
No, not that place. Not until after we moved. Actually, I moved
Okay.
in with my grandmother. Was when we were 14. My brother started screwing around with what's called the Ouija board, right?
Okay, so what happened when you messed around with the Ouija board?
Well, we had a pretty crazy time occurring, actually, like sitting down and fucking around with the Ouija board, you know what I mean? Calling upon spirits and crap. Like, I honestly didn't believe it. I didn't believe in that crap at all at first, you know, because, you know, it's a little board game, right? So, like, as it is
Yep.
looked upon, like, disbelief and crap, right? So, when we did, though, call upon something and shit, it was spelling out, like, an entity's name and stuff.
Okay.
So my brother ended up looking into it more further because he continued to play the game. Like, I stopped playing that shit after that happened. That just scared the shit out of me.
What did it spell out?
I can't remember, but it started with a U.
Okay.
And then like after that, like it just kept going, right, and spelling the name out. And later on and shit, my brother like came back to the house. It was like about a week after him screwing around with his like friend, right? He told me he came back and stuff, and like at the time and shit, he was playing with the board. and it's spelling different words and shit like that to him, but like it was spelling in a Greek mythology.
Okay.
So it wasn't spelling English at all. So they're trying to like understand.
Like Latin, you mean?
Yeah, like Latin, you know what I mean? Completely a different language, you know? So even my brother's like getting scared and shit. So but he got like picked up, and he told me he got thrown across the living room and shit at the time, and like in the basement. He also got like choked onto the couch and shit. And then later that night when he came back to my grandmother's house and JD went to bed, the next morning, like me and my grandma didn't really believe him at first. Next morning though, he wakes up with what seemed to be a peer like of a 5-year-old boy's little handprint on his ankle.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it seemed like he had I don't know, like strangled his leg basically, and it left a bruise, right?
That's so weird.
After my grandma seen that, she freaked out, and like she's very, very Catholic herself, right, and believes in that stuff. So she blessed the house, burned sage everywhere and everything. To call my brother stupid all the names in the book, you know, like she was freaked right out, man.
Yeah,
oh my god,
invite things in with the Ouija board.
Exactly, yeah. That's what my grandmother said, right? So after blessing the house and shit, like we didn't see anything for a while, and later on in life. And my brother says he still sees like screwed up things and shit like that, but he tries to like ignore them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He tries to like think it's not there.
He's trying to convince himself it's not there.
Yeah, exactly.
So you think whatever it was is still
haunting him,
and like latching onto him, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually.
If he's off negativity, right? And my brother's like a very angry, negative person.
Oh, they love that. Demons love that.
Yeah. So it's like I have a highly strong belief that he is getting followed by one. So.
When I was 15, I was given a Ouija board for Christmas from my brother, and I cried when I got it.
That's a gift.
Yeah, and I didn't want it, and then so I started just playing around with it with my mom. Shortly after, I was sitting in my brother's room reading a book, and I could feel something staring at me, and there's one floor down, and that's ground level.
Yep.
So I went to the window, looked down, and there was an old man with no eyes staring at me with an evil smile. And I ducked down for a minute, went and looked back up. He was closer, and the smile was bigger. Still had no face, like no eyes. And then I ducked down for 10 seconds, looked back up, he was gone.
That's fucked.
So I was like, I just felt like there was something trying to like feed off of my energy. So I don't trust Ouija boards. I tossed it out shortly after, but
I don't believe me, man. I was scared for myself, right? Like even when I screwed around with that shit, man, they started spelling out names and shit with us not touching. I was like, what the fuck?
And you talk about like Latin or Latin words and stuff like that.
Yeah, Latin words and stuff, right? It wasn't even spelling English, so it's like trying to understand that was completely just like, what?
I've heard this before because like I've done psychic work before. Yeah. Before I was ever a tattoo artist, that was like my job. And people would just come to me asking for spiritual help, and these tattoo clients, well, they turned into my tattoo clients. They asked me for their help. He had been messing around with the Ouija board, and they said when their phone would die, Latin texts would be sent to the other person's phone. When his phone would die, it would be sent to his girlfriend's phone. And then when they translated it, it's talking about wanting to kill him while he sleeps.
That's fucked.
Yeah, really creepy stuff.
That's really creepy, man. Holy crap.
Yeah. Okay, so have you ever had a near-death experience before?
Yes, I have. Several.
What happened to you?
Well, when it was on when I was coming back from Kingston, Ontario, actually. I was coming down here to Ottawa, Ontario for work and stuff in the wintertime. Mm-hmm. And we're coming along the 401 and shit, and it seemed to appear that the 18-wheeler driver that was driving on the highway beside us, coming underneath the Brockville Interpass, right? Mm-hmm. And as soon as we took the turn, it seemed that the driver just fell asleep, curved into the other lane, hit us. This was like occurring during the snow, right? So luckily there was snow on Crabman, because I would have been dead right now. Hit the median of Crab, dragged all the way down the median. Mm-hmm. Luckily there was enough snow there that it got compacted itself, up. Yep. And made like a barrier, and then it stopped us dead in our tracks. We had like 4 18-wheelers block off the highway, and run up to the car, open the doors and crap, and like help us out, so luckily, man, there were some actual good people there, because if not, man, I'm pretty sure I would have been dead.
Has there ever been an experience where you felt like you had died and had an out-of-body experience or anything like that, or just close calls?
Out-of-body experience? I'd say more of a close call, like seeing your life flash before your eyes, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not really any out of the body experience. So I've heard of friends though, like my friend Yannick and stuff. He's told me several times that himself, like while on the operating table and dying and shit, like he's had inner body experiences watching himself on the table and shit. Like he told me like some pretty creepy crap. You know what I mean? It's just like holy crap, man! As if you like seen that shit and you're still here today to tell about it. You know?
Yeah.
Some people look at him like he's crazy.
No, that happened to me when I was 6 years old. I got hit by a dirt bike, and I was floating outside of my body, watching myself vomiting on a hospital bed. I had a rock embedded above my right eye, and it didn't fall out till like Christmas Day. And I was like floating up in the corner of the ceiling watching myself.
Wow, man.
It was weird. So I feel like I died that day. It's really strange. But I always wonder if other people have had a similar experience. So have you ever had someone close to you pass away only to feel their presence around or to have signs that they're around? Yeah,
my grandfather.
What happened?
He ended up actually passing about 9 years ago now from lung cancer.
Okay.
So he had like a rare disease that he ended up developing. And like I forget what it's called, but it causes him from not talking or communicating with people much.
Okay.
More like a silent mute.
Okay.
And so like it'd be very rare if you talk, you know what I mean? Besides that, he'd just sit there and just stare.
Okay.
After that, though, like when he passed and everything, like you'd feel like moments and times and stuff, like of his presence and shit, because things would get cold and everything, and you know, like if things would get like heated at my house and stuff, my parents would get into an argument and force saying like shit would move. You know what I mean?
Okay, so he's like saying to stop it. Kind of.
Yeah. My brother's seen him a couple times also.
Okay, like he saw the spirit of him.
Yeah, he told me he's woken up and seen my grandfather standing right at the end of his bed and stuff, right? And I was just like, what the fuck?
If I had a dime for every time I've heard that story, I'd probably have a lot of dimes. It's always like the grandparent at the edge of the bed, or in the room.
Usually, it's most of the ones that care most for you, right? And it happens to be our grandparents most of the time that are like our guardian.
You're tuned to the Witching Hours on CKC 93.1 FM in Ottawa. I'm your host, Kanaska, the extraterrestrial Carter, sitting here with J-Havoc. That was I'm the Only One. How's it going, man?
Not too bad at all.
Awesome. So we're just going to switch topics here and talk about the universe. So, do you think our planet is the only one with intelligent life existing on it?
No, I don't believe in that at all.
Why don't you believe in that?
I honestly think that there are other planets that have species and stuff like that, because of the whole fact of like the government always trying to portray and say that we can't make it to these planets and we can't go this far in the space and all this crap. I find that bullshit, complete bullshit. You know what I mean? Because like half the time and stuff, I find like a lot of the experiments and crap like that, the government isn't really portraying to the society. You know what I mean? They're hiding it more behind the scenes and shit. And now like it came to my attention and shit a couple of weeks ago. There was this article and this thing on the History Channel I was looking into. It's talking about a couple of scientists looking into the history of human beings and the race itself, right? You know how like the Mayans and all that stuff, the Egyptians and shit had the Egyptian writing on the walls of the pyramids.
The hieroglyphs, yeah. Yeah,
they're trying to now decipherize them and actually understand them more, because like I honestly don't believe it, and a lot of people don't believe it, that we descend from apes, you know what I mean? Because, like, if that was true, then the apes and animals on the earth would still be,
There's no way.
Yeah, exactly, because evolution would still happen, it would still occur, They would also evolve into humans, but, like, now they're trying to decipher and say that we're aliens or an alien species.
That's literally one of my questions I have for you.
Exactly.
Do you think that we're hybrids of an extraterrestrial or alien race?
Definitely. Yeah, there's no way in hell that we can be this intelligent, develop all these programs, all these electronics and all this shit, and then say that we're just some animal that evolved from an ape.
Yeah, exactly. So say the government wanted to ship you off to Mars, but you couldn't return, would you go?
No, hell no.
You think they'd just turn you into a slave?
Probably.
You'd be like a slave to robots or something?
I'd probably be building the pyramids up there.
Okay. So what do you think the pyramids are?
The pyramids, honestly, I believe, they were also talking about that too. like a lot of the things that are getting now discovered and more opened up into the public's eyes, right? So now they're starting to actually bring things more to attention to people. Like the pyramids was a hydroponic system back in the day that they found that it was used to actually generate enough power for a spaceship to actually go back up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. For energy.
Exactly.
That's what it was used for, yep. Okay. So would you say that you believe in aliens or extraterrestrial life?
100%.
Okay.
I believe that we are an alien species as is, you know,
Okay.
because our intelligence, our brain waves, how
our
things
heads are
work.
way too big for us to not be.
You know? Our brains are a little too big too, you know?
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the possibility of humans being abducted and experimented on?
I honestly
Why?
don't believe that happens.
No?
I don't think that happens. I think we abduct other species and do experiments on them.
Okay, yeah.
To try and understand their thinking patterns and stuff like that, right? Because Area 51, not really talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things they don't really see portrayed on to the news and stuff like that, right? They have like stupider things to actually portray to
Mm-hmm.
our society and people living, you know, like dumb bombings and crap like that. Not really things that people would really be more intrigued and interested in. You know, they hide that kind of stuff. So I do believe that they're capturing other species and stuff like that on different planets.
Yeah. So you think a lot of these abductions is actually government workers perhaps disguising themselves or creating false memories in people?
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay. I actually have seen 2 great aliens in person
Really?
on 2 separate occasions. So, and I've had a lot of weird missing time, what feels like an implant in my ears, but it also happened to my mother and my brother. So, I don't know, maybe certain people, I have no idea, are like chosen for these things, or maybe some people, their memories are wiped, they don't remember it at all. But there's like millions of cases of people all over the world experiencing the same things. You know, it just makes you wonder what's happening.
I've heard of abductions and stuff like that, and people getting abducted and everything, right? But like I said, I think it's more of the government itself abducting those people. And
Yeah, I
doing
don't trust the
experiments on
government.
them.
They've already admitted to doing experiments on the military.
Yeah.
And
I honestly
the
think they control the weather as well too.
Oh,
Like,
for
look
sure.
yesterday,
These
man.
tornadoes, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
They created
like
that.
6 tornadoes in Ottawa to nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, come on. Yeah,
Come on.
we're a valley for fuck's sake. That shit
There's
doesn't
been
happen.
no tornadoes the whole time I've lived here. I've been here since I was like 13. I don't remember ever hearing.
I can remember one time when I was about 5 years old, we had the smallest fucking tornado go through. It was like
Yeah.
a little windstorm.
Now it's 2 years in a row.
Big. Yeah.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
weird.
People's houses getting torn up and shit. Like, fuck, Dunrobin last year got destroyed. The west end of Ottawa got destroyed. Half the power and stuff. Like, I seen a new article. I don't know if this is true, but like over 200,000 people in Ottawa are without electricity right now.
I heard almost 200,000. Not sure on the numbers, but it's a lot of people that are without power
That
right
is,
now.
man. Like, damn, what an unfortunate event.
Yeah. So when it comes to the Earth, there's a lot of different theories about the shape of it. Do you think it is spherical, oblate, hollow, or flat?
I believe it's a sphere.
Or do you think it's a simulation and we're in a video game?
A simulation. I wouldn't put it that way, right? Because if it wasn't like that, then I'd say like life would be inevitable and you wouldn't be able to die.
Yeah, true. Okay, good point. So when it comes to the power of our minds, do you think that we're able to manifest things just by visualizing and intending something or believing it's going to happen to us? Like, what do you think about that?
Honestly, I think it's more like a warning
What do you mean?
our body has. You know, like sometimes, like you think of things that would occur, and then later on, weeks down end, you know, like you have a dream for say like one day. It just happens to be so realistic, you know what I mean? And like everything pans out to be something that is close to what's going on in your life, and then 2-3 days later it actually occurs, you know what I mean? So it's like a warning system that our body indicates, you know. So it's like I really do believe that we are a higher power being itself, you know. We just aren't allowed to access a certain part of our brain because of the government. I think the government has to do with that.
Shut it all down.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Damn
they
government.
only allow us to use 15% or however
Okay.
much we're allowed, you know.
So mad at the government right now. So when it comes to censorship that is happening on social media right now in regards to conservative opinions and InfoWars, anybody that is not abiding by the agenda of what the government wants us to think, what do you think about this?
I think they really block off a lot of that stuff, and a lot of people that try and talk about that stuff, right, to better the world itself. Like Nipsey Hussle himself. he was one of the guys I'd say that was a big impact on society and hip hop itself. Like, right, he was a character for his community. He did a lot itself, like from going from gang times to making a difference in his life and his children. And then an unfortunate event happened that he ended up dying in front of his own clothing store, you know, which I find that very far-fetched too, because of the whole fact that when I looked into the story, right, it's talking about one of his securities and stuff standing there with him in front of the store, but no one had a gun to fire back, which I don't understand.
That's strange in America.
Very weird, yeah. Yeah, that's what I didn't
peculiar.
understand about the whole story, right, with Nipsey Hussle and stuff. Because like when I looked into it and stuff, I'm reading along the article and stuff. It's saying that he got shot in front not one time but 4 times on the same day in 4 different occasions. The guy came back several times.
What?
Yeah,
Doesn't even make sense.
rolled up to the store, ended up shooting Nipsey once, left, came back again knowing that he wasn't dead, gave him a couple more shots, left again, and like this is occurring all in the time when it's like security and all his homies and homeboys supposedly right were around him at the
That doesn't make sense.
clothing store and shit, right? So it's like it's just such a far-fetched story that like there's something bigger behind it that they just really don't want to disclose, you know?
Yeah, I've noticed a few stories like that, even with Whitney Houston's death and her daughter's death. I don't know if you know much about that. It happened one day before the Grammys, and a week prior to her drowning, she comes up into an interview. There was Monica, Brandy, and Clive Davis, I believe is his name, and she said, hands a note to Brandy and said, I almost drowned again. They're like, what? She said, I almost drowned again. And she hands the note to Brandy. She died on Brandy's birthday.
Wow, that's
which
crazy.
is interesting. And then her daughter, before she went into a coma, was found face down in a bathtub.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
almost
insane.
3 years to the day is kind of weird. So I just wonder if like sometimes these are sacrifices or if it's like plotted and planned murder.
Well, it's
you
just like
know?
Mac Miller, right? Like a week before his tour, he ends up dying.
And he also had that one of his last videos, he was in a coffin trying to get out of it.
So
Yeah.
a supposed overdose at his house, but when it came down to like investigators and stuff going to his house, right, and looking into further things, it didn't occur that any traces of drugs were in the place at all. Like they even said in the article itself that it looked like that somebody cleaned up the whole area, and that it was just clean as a whistle, you know, spotless and crap. So they were very suspicious about that too. They didn't know if somebody at Mac Miller's house was with him at the time before he died or what, right?
Unless he cleaned right before he like
Who knows?
died. I
Yeah.
don't know, that's very strange.
Very weird, because I even watched like his last Instagram video right before he passed. He was just listening to one of his new songs and stuff where he was releasing it and shit. It was like the end of the song playing, and there was just his record player playing, right? And he was recording it.
So he was like happy and enjoying life, and
Yeah.
so it was an overdose is what it was.
I think, I'm not too sure though. It's a very, very skeptical story, you know, to look into.
Yeah, I'm always skeptical when I hear suicide or, you know,
Because he was just such a humble and happy artist itself, you know. He's about to go on tour too for another album he just released, so it's like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. So have you ever experienced missing time before?
Missing time. Yes.
What happened to you? Were you drunk?
I wouldn't say drunk, man. Honestly, like it just occurs sometimes. Like, right, you forget an event or like something that has happened or occurred, like meeting somebody, and you just totally blank out. Like you've never met them in your life before, you know. Like they come back up to you and like, "Hey, man, how's it going?" You know, like shooting the shit, and you're just like, "I have no idea who the fuck you are, man."
That happened to me twice this month. I mean more like you're in one place and then a few hours later you wake up or you black out and you don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
But like you weren't drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had that occur a couple times.
You've probably been abducted by aliens then. Just
Maybe,
saying.
who knows? Maybe I'm probed. I don't know it.
You probably got a probe in your butthole right now.
Oh, who knows?
Oh, God. Okay. Do you think we have the technology or ability to time travel?
Definitely, honestly, I think we do.
What makes you think that?
Like I said, the government does a lot of experiments that they don't talk about, right? So I'm pretty sure we have the technology already to have
Yeah.
flying cars and crap like that, right?
Oh,
Like
we do.
They're already talking
Yeah.
about that, right? They're already talking about releasing these new technology cars that you can float with and fly and all this stupid shit. So
It's already been
like,
released.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it
damn.
got released like last year or the year before that. But it's like going to be mainstream soon, I think is what is the next step, you know? Okay, so...
Next thing we know, we're going to have floating houses. Holy crap.
But even like the Germans were working on a time machine during the Third Reich in World War II called the Die Glock. And there was a lot of scientists that were working on it that got murdered. That they were working on the project. So it just makes you wonder, you know? There's a lot of secret experiments behind closed doors that the government never tells anybody about.
Well,
So-
exactly, right? Like in Hitler itself, right? Like he fought for a different reason than what the government portrayed it to be. Like history taught, totally different than what it actually occurred, right? Because
Exactly.
we never know. We weren't there at the time. Like we'll never actually know what really occurred. But the technology and stuff that the Germans had really explains a lot. You know what I mean? And you're looking back into that shit, and you're really like, holy fuck! How do they already have that kind of technology to looking into like time travel and all that other shit, gas chambers and so on, you know, like cloning and looking into like diagnosing twins and crap. Like,
Oh, totally. They're
very
cloning
crazy.
people.
Definitely, man. Already.
So we were just talking about cloning and time travel. Now, I heard a theory. There's actually a lot of like famous artists that are admitting to being cloned. And I heard a theory from my friend, whose friend said that she was abducted every night, pulled through her wall by reptilian beings, and she claimed that they had a clone of her somewhere else. And people believe that they're cloning people, and then they take your consciousness and bring it to this other body, and then they can torture you and then send your consciousness back. Like when you sleep, they're able to take you. What do you think of that?
That's very, very weird, and I do believe it does occur though, because like I've heard it myself, right, of a lot of that stuff occurring, and a lot of people getting abducted, and like you said, like a lot of artists actually admitting that, right? I honestly find that's just Illuminati though.
Yeah. That's some Illuminati shit for sure.
Yeah, you know,
They're slowly taking over.
sex slaves and shit like that. I don't know. That's very weird, man. Like even like the demonic church in Ottawa, right? Like they have the pyramid and rings and everything, right? So
You mean the Masonic temple?
yeah.
Okay, so when I was 16, I recorded at the Masonic temple, and the drummer worked there. My drummer in my first band I was ever in. And he said, "Here, come here into this other room." And it was like their main room where they do rituals or something. He lifted up a hatch to the floor, and there was a skeleton underneath the floor.
That's funny.
So I was like, why the hell is that there? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then I thought about it years later. I'm like, oh my God, some sort of like weird rituals happening.
Sacrifice or something. Yeah.
Probably.
Hiding the bodies underneath the floor and stuff.
It's just messed up. I don't know why the hell that was there. So if you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
It would be to teleport,
Why would you want to teleport?
because I'm probably the laziest person ever.
Could save money on Uber for sure.
Yep. You're paying Uber, man. I'll be there in 2 minutes. So, you know, I'll see you soon.
Where's the first place you would go if you could just like teleport for free?
Probably Jamaica.
Okay.
Bob Marley House. Go smoke a fatty.
Sounds like fun. Definitely don't go to Cuba
No, how come?
because weed is illegal there.
That's okay. I'm going to the Dominican Republic, you know, in October, so I'll see how that goes.
Okay, be careful. So is there a message you hope to portray through your music?
Honestly, yeah, I hope to get back in the belief of hip hop itself, man. And like, you know, like I see a lot of the artists making a comeback, like Eminem himself, right, with the Revival album, and then him actually pairing up with Joyner Lucas, and now with Logic and stuff coming up with actually like real raw hip hop. You know, so I think that the phase of mumble rap is finally starting to die down, and real artists will probably get the recognition we've been waiting for. You know, like I also do believe though it has to do with a lot of people, the way that they like actually make movements and stuff in Ottawa, you know, because like a lot of the men are egotistical, I'd say.
Oh my God, yeah. They don't want you to succeed if, you know, they're an artist.
Not even that. I see a lot of the artists like in Ottawa itself, you know, they got 400 views on like total videos itself. They got like 30 videos on their YouTube page, but only 400 listens. And then they're trying to brag like they're going to be the next big thing and all this stuff, you know, like egotistical. They gotta stop looking at that kind of big picture and who's going to be the next big thing and blow up, and actually come with a strategy, right? Look into A&R programs, people that are actually going to help you market, network, get features, stuff like that, you know.
And humble yourself.
Exactly.
Also.
Be a very humble artist, man, because at the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of people that want you to fail.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see you do better than them.
Exactly. Especially if they're like in the music industry. I've noticed that a lot. I've experienced that a lot in Ottawa. Like,
well, I can't say there are a handful of artists I do, you know, recognize and I would say like are really good guys. Sudden Movement, you know. Beyond, there's Goon, there's Ruckus, there's Kenny King Kong, there's C-Note, now goes by Naive, you know, like that's just a handful of artists I know that are good friends of mine and stuff as well, right? That we built a really good relationship over the years and stuff, and then unity is what they're about.
Yeah.
They're not really about the whole dispute and crap like that, you know, like that most people would rather portray and actually like start on occasional things. Like I had 50-year-olds a couple of weeks ago and crap before the Chris Webby show I did, you know, were trying to like rob me for tickets and just involve me in unnecessary drama, you know, and like
God.
It's stupid, you know, like you're how old and trying to like be naive and act a certain way with me just because you feel a certain way because I brought to their attention, you know, they shouldn't be acting a certain way in a club. Like, I find that kind of childish.
You called them out on their bullshit.
Yeah, and then they
like,
get all mad.
I don't like that very much.
You know what I mean? Trying to act all tough and shit on Facebook and crap, trying to say they have a video against me. I've just been laughing about it, right? I'm like, yo, post the video, man. Show that your boy missed me 3 times sitting down. You're not going to prove anything. You're just going to show that you guys are like 30-plus-year-olds being a bunch of fucking children.
Bunch of losers, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So stupid. Living in their mom's basement.
Yeah.
So, if you could give any advice to the next generation of artists or rappers out there trying to make it into the music industry, what advice would you give them?
Honestly, the biggest advice I can give anybody as an artist itself would be invest in your craft and actually invest in yourself. Don't say that you're going to actually put money into it and then wait months on end just to get something done. Actually invest in yourself. Pay for the things that are needed to be paid for. Buy a promotion. Get features. Network yourself. Get on shows. Because at the end of the day, no A&R rep or no fucking no host of shows are actually going to want to book you if they know that you can't bring in any attention or bring in any crowds, you know what I mean? So it's like they're at a loss really if you don't have that that they're looking for, you know.
Exactly.
Like you got to be able to bring in a crowd nowadays to even get it booked or looked at, because like a lot of the places and shit nowadays are either pay to play if you don't have a following, you know.
Okay, so what do you think is the purpose of our existence?
Purpose of our existence? Very good question. A very good question, not gonna lie. Our purpose of our existence, honestly, I don't believe that we have one. I think it's just to live life.
Okay.
Learn it and live, you know what I mean? Go through things in life, give advice to others, and that's about it. I don't really see a purpose for us, you know, like, because we are human beings, well, you know, aliens now, supposedly.
We're totally aliens.
Totally aliens, yeah.
Okay. So, one last question for you. How can we make our world a better place to live in?
Fuck, if everybody would grow the heck up and stop being a bunch of fucking whiny bitches, I think we'd be doing fine, you know?
Stop being a crybaby.
Yeah, racism is a big thing too, you know? Like, a lot of people feel entitled that, like, things that happened back in the 1800s are now occurring today, right? So they take that and they just act a certain way, and I just don't understand why. It makes no sense to me, you know? It's like, oh, why do you gotta portray yourself? We're not in these times anymore. We're not going through that existence and stuff, you know? We're not in that time zone. So we should be able to grow past that and look forward onto the future, you know? And, like, how to actually dismiss that part of life and get along with each other. Not just bring up past things and be like, oh, you're racial or you're racist because of this and that, or you're copying the culture of rap, you know? Like,
I get that a lot for dreadlocks.
Stupid shit, man. It's okay, you know, like my mom's Jamaican and stuff, right? Like, I'm light skinned, yo, and like I'm whiter than most people, man, so I get that shit all the time, yo.
You're part Jamaican?
Yeah, man.
Oh,
my mom's full Jamaican. Dad's full German.
That's pretty cool, man.
A mix and a half, man.
So, if people want to find you on social media, how can they do that?
They can search me up on YouTube at J-Havoc or LHDC record label. Or they can go on Instagram, follow me at J-Havoc Official. Go on Twitter, J-Havoc Official. And same thing like that. Any outlet, Spotify as well, J-Havoc.
All right, so do you have any shows in Ottawa coming up?
Shows in Ottawa we're going to be looking into, actually, with the Diamond Mine Agency. I'm just waiting to hear back from Brandon. A big shout out to him, you know, 'cause if it wasn't for him, man, I wouldn't have a name or built up this empire that I've been looking into, you know, trying to establish in Ottawa now. Awesome. Now I'm just looking at this year, my goals, I'd say, is trying to get more of a fan base built up into my hometown itself, and then expanding into the Ontario-wide.
Okay.
Getting my music